Welcome, welcome to episode 75. Got here my man Alliston with me. Welcome to my show, man.
Thanks for having me, Ivan.
Most welcome. Can you let the listeners know a little bit about yourself?
Yes. What can I say? I am a singer-songwriter, also an event producer, and then also just a creative. So yeah, I have a creative mind and I try my best to use that to the best abilities to help others.
Yeah, cool. So let's take a dive through memory lane. So what was childhood like for you growing up?
Yeah. Um Childhood was honestly I very fun, I want to say. Because I make it fun.
Yeah.
That's just who I am. I'm an optimist. My sister calls me an opportunist. Not sure if it's a bad thing or a good thing, to be honest. But it definitely had its if you outside looking in, it definitely like looked a little dark, and gray. Um, Growing up with a single mother, with ADHD. Well, I have ADHD, not her. I have ADHD, ODD, and ADD.
What's
Very,
ODD? What's
very.
ODD? What's
What's ODD?
ODD?
Oh, I love explaining this because it's not, because it definitely matches my personality. Essentially, it's opposite. I think it's oppositive defiant disorder, if I'm saying that right. Something like that.
And then you
It's
said
basically
ADD?
very defiant.
Okay.
So it's like if you say go, I say no. If you, yeah, essentially, which is like I think in a way was or is a superpower for me because I definitely challenge the norms, and I always think why. Like there's always a reason. Like if like why do you sit? Like if, as a kid, there's nap time, right?
Yeah.
I'd be the kid to be like,
No, I don't
no,
want.
I'm not doing
Yeah.
nap time. Why? I'm not tired, right? And then that's
Yeah.
where the defiant kind of nature comes in. But it can be a superpower sometimes.
And then you said ADD,
Yeah. Um, Attention deficit disorder.
and then ADHD. Wow.
Ooh, attention hyper
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
deficit
yeah.
disorder. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The whole thing. Wow.
I know. I got all of it, and my mom had to deal with all of it as
Yeah.
a single mother. Crazy. To the point where like, there's a funny story where I got kicked out of daycare
Oh wow.
before preschool. I know it was that bad.
No.
I don't know how
Naughty, naughty.
anybody or any kid gets kicked out of daycare.
Naughty, naughty.
But I managed to put that on my resume.
Ah. Baby gets kicked out of daycare. Wow. Headline.
I know. I know.
So, what were some of the challenges growing up with a single mother?
um, I guess. Well, my mom was just one single mother, like just not one. Wasn't just an ordinary single mother. She was one, but she
Obviously.
wasn't an ordinary one. It got more difficult because she works in a merge, um, and she did a lot of long hours. So I spent a lot of the time, you know, not alone because I did grow up with my sister who's 5 years older than me. But imagine missing Christmases or Thanksgivings or not being around or being late to like after practice, like just not being that ordinary kid who had the support of two people inside of
Yeah.
your partnership. So not having that support, she had to be everywhere, uh, but also other places at the same time. I will say that my mom did a really good job at like putting me through recreation,
Yeah.
keeping me busy. I think that was part of keeping me busy was part of
Keeping
the
you in
ADHD or
control.
ODD. Like it was
Keeping in control.
unnecessary thing. So I definitely got like a lot of different skills from being inside of extracurriculars. Um, but it got challenging at points because I never could relate to the people around me.
Yeah, for sure. How was that like for you?
Um, it can be very isolating
Yeah,
at
for sure.
times because you feel like no one kind of gets you. But then once you do bump into somebody who does get you, you kind of do relate with them. I remember growing up with some other kids who had single mothers, and I feel like we really connected a lot more. I think it helped when the mothers could connect as well, so my mom could trust that she was in the hands of somebody who got what was going on. Um, and it really did help in that sort of way. But um, the negative side of it is that you just kind of feel isolated sometimes. But the positive side of it is that you get a lot of independence.
Yeah.
You get a lot of growth. I spent a lot of times alone, but then also it definitely gave me some advantages to get me to I threw a lot of house parties
Yeah.
because I was alone. And now it's my main job in a way. I
Wow.
always make fun about it. My mom,
So,
she's like, "Oh, well, I guess those kind of was training."
yeah, isolation is
Yeah.
power, they say, but it must have been a pretty hard to go through that though, being isolated.
Yeah, I think so. But also being isolated sometimes helps the most creativity.
Mm,
I really got to understand what I liked, and in a way it was kind of normal for me, but then it's about looking outside in kind of thing. So looking what everybody else had and looking what I didn't have is what was the most challenging thing of it all. I can never relate to that. Could never be that. But then it was always around me.
oh wow. So that was one of your limiting belief, yet you overcame it through those things that provide you while you were isolated.
Yeah, you kind of have to in a way, right? It's like you either get crushed by the negative or you take that negative and let it boost you up.
Yeah, how was that process for you?
I think I'm still going through it
Okay.
all the time. There's always going to be a negative that will come your way. However, it definitely gives me um a mindset that things could always get worse, you know, but you never think about the worst things. You think about where you come from and you
Mm,
think about what you've overcome,
yeah.
and then you let that be the catapult or the catapultist to your next adventure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It kind of makes you not afraid of
Yeah,
things
yeah.
more than
Resiliency.
other people who never experienced it.
Yeah. So unfortunate to explain it, but to experience it, but fortunate enough that it gave you the power to move forward.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
that's cool, man. That's cool. And then
Yeah, I'm
how?
such an
Yeah,
optimist because of it.
optimist who uses opportunities to get most out of life.
Exactly. Exactly. My sister calls me an opportunist, and
Yeah.
she does it to kind of sting me, and I'm like, "Wait, is that a negative or is it a
Oh,
positive?"
well, you can make it a positive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And how did you get into the creative side? Who was that mentor or person who?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had a lot of different mentors throughout life. And I think the earliest mentor that I can say that catapults me creatively to really challenge me was in elementary school. Um, she was my I want to say grade 8 or grade
Oh,
7
okay.
teacher, Miss Chandler. She was a little bit younger than all the teachers, and she really knew because I was very remember ODD,
Yeah, yeah,
ODHD,
yeah,
very not disciplined, but she could take my creativity, and she used it to then power and to give me hope that I was good at doing something. And that was performing, and that was being that creative mind and that energy and that ball of fire that a lot of people were kind of scared of. So she was probably like that biggest um, catapulting mentor for me that said, Alliston, you can do it. If you put your mind to it, you can do it. And I trust you to do it. And then I have so many other mentors throughout my life. I can name them off my hand, but there's a lot. And I'm always gathering new mentors. And everybody that surrounds me is somebody that I learn from actively. And they all have an importance that's heavy in my life. So you know, try to collect them like infinity stones,
Yeah.
because people that are around you will affect you
Yeah.
no matter what. And you really want to put the people that are putting you up rather than putting you down.
So I guess she was the validation you needed to channel that energy you had into something else, which was
Yeah,
the
I was always
creative.
told that like you're doing the wrong things and you're not right. And whatever I felt
Didn't matter.
was instinct to me was the wrong thing. But then was like, you know what? This could be something.
Yeah.
You can be something.
Yeah.
And then in that trust was that ability to then trust in myself to be like, yeah, I am doing the right thing as long as I choose the right thing.
And what was like the path, the journey, trajectory into acting and into the performance and event planning?
Yeah, I mean, it started through acting. That was that creative light that my teacher kind of gave me in grade 8. But then it kind of molded because I always was a singer.
Yeah.
Like even my grandpa growing up, when I was like very, very young, I was always putting on a performance.
Yeah.
I was always singing inside the bathroom, inside of public
Yeah.
washrooms, and it was never like, like that's the ODD. Like I could just be loud. I'm a loud person. So like it's like I will always find a way to just express myself. And so through the um acting route that I chose that was the most fulfilling for me at the time, I went to university for a BFA in acting, and that really taught me how to think like a creative as a business, like your own
Bachelor's in
personal.
acting, BFA.
Yes, yeah, a bachelor of fine art.
Oh, bachelor. Okay.
And there was about 20 people in my program that got chosen worldwide through each year. So it was very intensive,
Yeah.
but
Ooh.
in a way, the program really helped me to be surrounded by people who wanted it as much as I did.
Yeah.
And then, so it was very competitive, but also very collaborative too, because you're around people who take it seriously. Like, when you're in like high school
Yeah.
drama class and like not a lot of people take it seriously,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah. So you get surrounded by that, like those people who really take this art for art and we take it very seriously. And we all are very smart people because we need to obtain averages to obtain where we are, and we have other courses, but we also take drama very seriously. And then through that I had to drop out because of financial issues, and because Windsor is it can be such a depressing city. It was for me, especially having all that weight on my mom to put me through school was such a burden in a way on me. And so I thought that at the time it was best for me to leave because acting as a degree will not get you anywhere where you need to go in that profession. It's about skill and
Yeah.
about showing up, and you needed to kind of do more. And I felt like I just did enough for where I came from, and I needed to do more back home.
Yeah.
And then that's where I got back home to Toronto. I started doing more gigs, and then I actually got a job being a spin instructor, which is really cool. I started out, it's this studio called Ride Cycle Club that they started in Vancouver, and they were coming out to Toronto to start building in Toronto. And they hired a whole bunch of actors to train to be spin instructors. And I guess they did that because, first of all, the owner was a dancer
Mm.
who was a creative who started the practice and the design of the company, and she did everything based on the beat. So
Oh wow.
everything was on beat. That a lot of um the spin studios didn't have this technique.
Oh,
The
so
dancing,
spin studios like a bicycle you're on, pretty much.
exactly, like a stationary bike.
Ah,
And she really wanted to make sure that that was a major aspect inside of her studio.
like the
So
beats.
yeah, and we had to learn BPMs. We had to learn, and I was always musically inclined because remember I was
Yeah. Yeah.
singing
Yeah. Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
shower. But then I also got to be a performer on a bike because you were mic'd up, but then you also had to curate your own playlists and then also do the class while you're exercising and then perform. And then I loved performing so much, and that's where I realized that I it's not acting that I like.
Yeah.
I like combining singing with performing, with curating, and doing the whole performance. And then that's where I realized I wanted to be a performer.
Mm.
And I felt that singing was the path for me because you can do acting, you can do all of that
Yeah.
that I love
Yeah.
inside of something that I was very talented in. And then through that, when I entered as an artist full time, I started gathering all the skills of me being creative through acting, and I started doing my music videos. I started doing design work, album making, and people started seeing that for something good. And then they also asked me for help as
Yeah.
well. And then once I started getting more, like asked more for more help and more ideas, a time came. Well, the pandemic
Yeah.
happened,
Yeah. It happened.
and
Yeah.
yeah, right. It happened, and it's such a weird time, where it's like the world stopped and everything, kind of creativity
Halted. Yeah.
stopped because we couldn't touch, we couldn't feel, we couldn't interact with each other. But then there was still this drive to still do it. So the community that I had access to before it happened had a need. We wanted to connect, but we didn't know how. No one was getting paid. No one was actually doing things. So we still needed that drive to connect. And then I was there to be able to use those resources to help other artists like myself, plus other artists helping me to stay busy, stay motivated, stay in the scene and build the scene. And then that's where I entered the event world
Yeah.
because I started collecting skills like infinity stones. And like eventually I got like a job doing it. My friend started Afrowave TO and he said, I need your help. I'm like, yeah, I got you. He's another artist too. I got you. It wasn't anything. And then grants come in, and then I start collecting more and I start partnering with people. And then there's more need and there's more ways where I fit into. And the need now comes into the community of people like me who belong on a stage, but we need to create platforms for
Yeah.
people like
To
me.
get them
And I'm the
recognized.
one who kind of knows how to do that.
Yeah.
So then that's where my need kind of came into. And then that's kind of where I am now. I'm now an event producer, I'm a project manager. My skills are very involved with detail orientated communication, where I then, and also design and creative thinking, where then, and partnership, where
Mm.
then that kind of put me in a position to be who I am today.
Yeah. So what would you say to aspiring artists who want to do what you do or similar? What would you say their first step should be?
Um, to say yes. Don't fall into imposter syndrome. I continuously do it on a daily basis. And I'm not saying don't have negative thoughts, because negative thoughts will come and you'll always think you're not enough. But I want to challenge the artist to say yes. Trust in your gut. If not, if someone asks you to do it, if you just do it
For the sake of doing it?
for the sake of doing it and you love doing it, things will flaunt to you. You don't need to flaunt to that. Do you, be authentic, and things will come as they come.
Yeah. Amazing tip. Amazing tip. And
Yeah.
for your imposter syndrome, what are some of the
Mhm.
things that have helped you overcome that?
I'm still going through it, man.
Yeah.
Especially right now where I'm trying to grow um past my connections, because I not necessarily went to school for what I did,
Yeah, yeah.
right? But now I'm trying to compete with people who do have that background, and but I still can keep up. But I still get that imposter syndrome where I feel like I'm not enough
Yeah.
because I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have that. So it's again about trying, going into dangerous territory, and just doing it. And I'm going through it right now.
Yeah.
And it's never going to feel like you're enough. You just got to trust that what you are and who you are, and if you show up as your authentic self and you show up with all that you can on a daily basis, then that is enough.
Amazing, amazing. And to end off our segment, what would you say being limitless means to you?
Being limitless, um, is again, don't doubt yourself because you are enough. And no matter what, if you're comparing yourself with the rest of the world, that will limit you. If you compare yourself to who you were yesterday, then you are limitless.
So you're on your own and battling your own self rather than
Yeah,
taking on the whole world.
battle yourself because if you're better the next day, then you did one more step, and that's infinity.
Damn straight. Damn straight. And where can our audience and listeners find out more about you?
Yes, you can follow me on all platforms at Alliston Davis. That's ALLISTONDAVIS. You can catch me on Spotify, IG, TikTok. What else? I mean, not Twitter or X. But any platform, or you can just holler my name. I might just pop out.
Love that. Love that. Thank you so much for being here
Thank you so
and
much,
being
Ivan, for
part of
having me.
my journey and sharing your journey to inspire and hopefully inspire more people and get more stories out there.
Amazing. Can I ask you one question?
Yes.
What does it mean to be limitless to you?
Means to never give up, keep going forward, but more so not having that attitude not to give up and keep trying.
I love it. We're limitless and you're limitless.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.